All right, guys, we're back with another waiver wire video so I can help you find the best and most important players to add to your teams. And we've had another huge week of prospect promotions, has some great notes on some pitchers over here that can help you guys out, plus plenty of deep league ads towards the end of the video, like always. But before we really get into it, if you guys are not already, please subscribe to the channel down below, drop this video a like, sound off in the comments, and remember, channel memberships are open if you guys want personalized fantasy advice about your teams. And a big shout out to Prize Picks for sponsoring today's video. Now, quickly, before we get into it, this video is going to start with 5 in-depth player profiles. That's the big list of the week, followed by plenty of breakout sections to help you guys in shallow leagues, deep leagues, section about closers, section about players you could drop, players you can stash, anything you need. I got you right here. But first up on the big list this week is Henry JOLT, outfielder, center fielder, recently called up by the Athletics. He had a sensational debut on Wednesday night when he reached safely in his first 3 plate appearance. He had 2 hits and a walk. The second of those hits was an infield single. It was really just a bouncer to third base. That JOLT is so fast, he was able to beat it out. Also made a nice diving catch in center field. Later hit a sac fly to put the game away. I'm recording this video late Thursday afternoon. He's already had 2 hard hit balls in that game as well. And I think this guy is just going to be an absolute producer at the major league level. He got called up a bit earlier than expected into a crowded Athletics outfield, mostly because he was so red hot at AAA, they couldn't keep him down anymore. He had the 3-game span last week where he went 13 for 15. 13 for 50 in 3 games, only recorded 2 outs in 3 games. That included him also having a hit in 12 straight at-bats, and in those 12 at-bats, 4 of those hits were home runs, another 4 were doubles, and he just completely torched AAA this year. Through 37 games there, he had 12 home runs, 17 stolen bases, a nearly 1100 OPS, with this beautiful, crispy prospect savant page I'm showing you guys right now. But funny enough, this came off him getting to AAA last season, and kind of struggling at the level. Now I'm going to show you guys the last 2 years prospects savant pages for Henry JOLT at the same time. And this year I said he played 37 games. Last year was 34 games. So very similar sample in both seasons. Not a huge sample in either, but again, similar, so it's okay to compare them. And last year was his age 21 season. This year's his age 22 season. So both times very young for the level, so good production otherwise. But the power this season has taken a huge step up from where it was last season, and he's really closed the big hole in his game, which was a lot of swing and miss, and really just not swinging enough last season. The fact that he wasn't swinging a lot in the zone, and then whiffing a lot when he did offer at the ball, that was a really bad combination and made JOLT more of a projection, more of a guy that we saw lots of loud tools, but hadn't really been able to put it together yet. Then he got into this year, put more bat on the ball, hit the ball harder, pulled it more in the air. And we've seen a guy that's clicked that the team literally could not keep in AAA any longer because of how productive and impressive he was at that level. The only question about this call-up and the timing of it was going to be playing time for JOLT because he got called up with the corresponding move with Jacob Wilson going to the injured list. Told you at the top. JOLT is a center fielder. He's not a shortstop. So Jacob Wilson going on the IL, that wasn't obviously opening up any playing time for him. Lawrence Butler has been playing center field for the Athletics most of this season. He's been not good on both sides of the ball. Denzel Clark played a lot of center field early in the season. He's one of the best defenders in the league, but he hasn't hit much at all. Clark has just restarted baseball activities, so he could be back soon. But I think right now the Athletics are going to give JOLT the shot to win this everyday job. Based on what we've seen from Butler over the last 2 years, and also what we've seen from Clark at the plate over his entire professional career, JOLT offers the most upside and the most possible complete package this team can put in center. And when he made his debut on Wednesday, it was against a left-handed pitcher, so I was like, oh no, I'm worried about this. They just call him up to be a small side platoon guy. But again, in the lineup again on Thursday against a righty, 2 hard hit balls in his first 2 plate appearances. So it looks like he's going to be the center fielder. And if you're a starter on this A's team with the loud physical tools that JOLT has in that home ballpark, you're going to put up numbers. I want Henry JOLT in every single possible league I can get him in right now. Now, quickly, before we get to the next player on the big list, a word from today's sponsor. Prize Picks is America's #1 sports picks app. If you guys are not on Prize Picks yet, here's why you should be. The app is super simple. You just pick more or less on a few player stats, lock your lineup, and you're in. There are no complicated strategies. There's no confusing interfaces. It's just you, your sports knowledge, and your picks. I've also been heating up again with my lineups, smashing this NBA lineup over the weekend, and I'm really starting to get the hang of these baseball lineups. Remember, you guys can follow me on the app with my username right here, so you can track my lineups in real time before I even tell you about them here. And I'm starting to look at some lineups for Friday night NBA playoff hoops. I am ready for James Harden to choke again right when the spotlight's on, right when everybody believes in him, as well as thinking Anthony Edwards is going to will himself to the free throw line, trying to get the Timberwolves to extend their season, but Victor Wembanyama will do everything for the Spurs against them. But the best part about downloading Prize Picks right now is that you can get $50 worth of lineups just for playing your first $5 lineup. You just have to download the Prize Picks app using that link in my description and use the promo code HMA when you sign up. That's it. Just code HMA when you sign up, and the link is in the description. And just to remind you guys, says, Prize Picks is available in most states, including California, Texas, Florida, and our beautiful New York. So check out Prize Picks, use the promo code HMA, and please only play if you know you can do so responsibly. Now, next up on the big list, AJ Ewing, center fielder on the Mets. And this one hits particularly close to home because I'm a huge Mets fan and make tons of Mets content on one of my other channels, Mets Stuff. But man, I don't remember any kind of big league debut as electric as Ewing's was on Tuesday. I was in the ballpark for it, very happy to be. He drew 3 walks, he had a triple, a stolen base, 2 RBIs, 2 runs scored. You don't see a 21-year-old rookie stuffing the stat sheet like that in a debut, and he's really now in the last few games given this Mets team a jolt that they really, really needed. After that, he scored the winning run in their extra inning victory on Wednesday while drawing a start against a really tough lefty in Framber Valdez, and in doing so, didn't have a great game, but took some very impressive takes. The eye has been very good so far. More on that later. And then in the game on Thursday, huge home run, first of his major league career. When the power has been a bit in question with Ewing as we kind of build out this full fantasy profile, only had 3 total homers across the whole minor league season last year, but this home run traveled 405 feet, was at 110.5 miles an hour off the bat, and does tell us that there are the hints of plus raw power here. And again, it doesn't seem like that with Ewing. Again, talked about the 3 home runs last year. Doesn't really have much raw bat speed. Very small sample so far, but you can already see the fact that bat speed's technically below league average. But at the same time, in the small sample swing distribution, you guys can see very clearly that Ewing has a C swing, a B swing, and the A swing, which is how you get that bat speed, how he hit that home run. And at the same time, his swing is very, very, very short and compact. One of the shortest swings in the league so far, and you can see the types of bat speed from other hitters in the league right here. For this short, Ewing is a bit of an outlier in how hard he swings a bat. And I have a great tweet here from David Adler of MLB.com to show how much of a unicorn Ewing swing is on that home run. Let's talk about how few hitters are able to generate that much bat speed on that short of a swing. He's in rare company. So now when we zoom out and look at the profile as a player, it's someone who I think will be much more productive in real life. Like, he has a chance to be a 4 or 5 win player perennially. It's going to be plus defense in center field. He's ridiculously fast, incredible base runner, 70 stolen bases in the minor leagues last year. So if you guys play in rotisserie categories leagues, keep that in mind, of course. But the other things he does really well should translate to the majors and help him be a very productive player. He has a great eye. As we've seen over these first few games, lots of really tough takes by Ewing, lots of long at-bats, has drawn more than a few walks so far. Devastating speed, like I said, so he's going to be running as much as possible when he gets on base. And really good bat-to-ball ability, has been a spray line drive hitter through his minor league career. But just seeing the hints of that pull-side raw power, if AJ Ewing plays at like a 10 home run, 40 stolen base pace with like a 260 batting average, 320 on base percentage, it's a very valuable player in almost all of our fantasy leagues. And again, if the power clicks, if something happens and we get more, he has all the makings of being more of a real-life star, but someone who can be really useful in most fantasy leagues. And quickly, before we move on to the next player, I want to shout out his teammate Carson Bench. I don't want to double up on young rookie Mets outfielders in the big list this week, but just a few moments on Bench because he deserves a look in a lot more 12-team leagues right now. He's moved up to the leadoff spot in the Mets lineup, including against a lefty, similar to talked about with Ewing on Wednesday night. He has a 775 OPS in his last 15 games, a 270 batting average in his last 30 games, had a walk-off game-winning hit on Wednesday night after a bad misplay in the first inning that led to the only 2 Tigers runs of that game. So it's just seeing maturity, seeing Bench growing up in front of our very eyes, and he himself has 8 stolen bases this season, which is going to help you a lot in rotisserie categories leagues. And even just amazing for these guys to group them together. They were both in A-ball last year with the Brooklyn Cyclones, literally 1 year ago, and now they're together, providing much needed energy to the Mets at the Major League level, potentially your guys' fantasy teams. Now, next up on the big list is Connor Prielipp, starting pitcher on the Twins. And I've glossed over Prielipp a few times in my last few videos. He's made the deep league ads in a bunch of these waiver videos. I think I ranked him inside my top 55 starting pitchers. But it's time to do a feature on him because he's a very interesting pitcher. And I think his rostership rates just don't match at all the quality of pitcher he's been, especially on a site like Fantrax, which is made for deeper dynasty-based leagues. I don't know why he's only 50% rostered. If you go to ESPN, he's only 6% rostered. That is way too low and not representative of his talent. You see his stats above, very solid. He got pushed back a little bit. The Twins wanted to give him more rest. He's starting this Saturday against the Brewers. And his stuff is just really, really good. First off, as a lefty, he has a 95-mile-per-hour fastball, which is above average velo for them. But at the same time, the pitch has an incredibly pedestrian shape. It doesn't miss many bats. His command of it is really good right now, so he's getting by. But I do think that pitch, while it's been hit hard, has gotten good results, will wind up being hit harder. But the big thing for Prielipp is that he has a really nice foundation of secondary stuff and breaking balls, especially his slider, which is downright nasty. It is his primary pitch. It has over 50% usage versus lefties, 34% usage versus righties, even with that fastball. So again, he leans on that thing, and rightfully so. That pitch got a 70 grade by Fangraphs as a prospect, and that's on the 20 to 80 scouting scale. So 70 is basically the highest grade you ever see for anything given out there ever. And showing these grades now, I don't know how that fastball got a 60, but I guess it's just because of the velocity from a lefty, so that's totally fair there. And he's broken off just some super nasty sliders, really coming in on there against the righties, dropping low and inside, shooting for that back foot, and also just tumbling away from the lefties. This pitch has been borderline unhittable for him so far as a major leaguer. It's really catalyzed this hot start. He also has a really nice changeup, a solid curveball, and he's mixed all of those pitches really, really well to put righties away, and has a really nice pitch distribution in various counts I'm showing you guys right now. Just hard to really get a beat on pre-lip because you don't know which pitch you're getting in any count. I really like how well he's mixed it up, not hiding that fastball, but just getting it in there in the right spots when a hitter may be expecting something else. He's just a really solid pitcher with a very sturdy rotation spot and someone I trust a lot moving forward. There should be no 12-team league where Connor Prielipp is left on the waiver wire. Next up on the big list is JJ Bleday, outfielder for the Reds, and this is a fun one because Bleday has been obscenely hot over the last few weeks. You guys see his stats above. He had 2 more home runs on Thursday afternoon, one of which came off of a left-handed pitcher. The Savant page looks like a guy that could be contending for an MVP award, looking like one of the best hitters in baseball. It's just ridiculous at the moment. A lot of people have written off Bleday. He was a very high draft pick years and years ago out of Vanderbilt, I'm pretty sure if I remember right. This is his 3rd different team over the last 4 seasons. He got sent down to the minor leagues last year. Like it looked really bad, but right now there's been tangible changes that make me think JJ Bleday has taken not 1, maybe not even 2, but possibly 3 full steps forward, especially because his bat speed is way up right now. Nearly 3 miles per hour faster this season compared to the last 2 seasons, with a shorter swing as well. So there's something that JJ Bleday has done to make him swing that bat a lot faster rather than just lengthening the swing and finding more force as he comes through the zone. And I want to show you guys here real quick his side-by-side swings, one from last season and one from this season. He's much more open just off the bat. You see that right here. And it just looks like his lower half is a lot more engaged as he gets ready and loads to swing and then blast through the zone so far this season. And you're just seeing a lot more thump, again, evidenced by that huge bat speed jump. Now he's swinging a 75 mile per hour bat. If you scroll down the bat speed leaderboards for guys with a minimum of 50 swings, Bleday is barely outside the top 50, and there's some real heavy hitters around him like Shohei Ohtani. And on top of that, the Reds are trusting him as a starter in their lineup. He started 15 consecutive games entering play on Friday, and that means he's also starting against left-handed pitchers, which is a huge deal, not dealing with any platoon nonsense, especially in our weekly set leagues. He's the kind of guy who just cannot be on any waiver wires anymore. And we're seeing someone who, especially playing in the summer in Great American Ballpark, the Reds have very few outfield options across the organization. He can play all summer, play at better than a 30-homer pace, and be someone like a top 30 outfielder kind of easily the rest of the season. Last up on the big list this week is Ryan Nelson, starting pitcher on the Diamondbacks. And with Nelson, I think this is just a classic case of a pitcher who, as you guys see above, stats look really bad, really ugly ERA early in the season, and he's kind of become an afterthought. But when you really dig deep, his ERA, his stat line was ruined by 2 horrible blow-up starts, and I think he's a much better pitcher than what that ledger indicates at this point. And again, you guys see it. It's very, very bad. On the surface, Ryan Nelson looks like a guy that should be nowhere near any of our fantasy teams. But let's look at the 2 starts right now that totally ruined that stat line. The first one, he got blown up by the Blue Jays. He recorded 1 out, gave up 8 hits, 8 earned runs. It's one of the worst starts you've ever seen. Like, you can't have a worse inning than what Ryan Nelson did here. In that outing, his ERA went from 3.54 to 6.97. That was 1 start. And then his next game, he allowed 6 earned runs over 5 innings to the Padres. So that game against the Blue Jays, you can't really take it out, but guys get blown up all the time. That happens. Flush that down the toilet, move on to the next start, which occurred in Mexico City against the Padres. If you guys don't know about the incredible hitter-friendly nature of that ballpark in Mexico City, it's kind of like Coors Field on steroids. So that's one you should really just be ignoring when you look at his stat line in the season, especially when you're trying to evaluate how good Nelson can be for the rest of the year. Before those blow-up starts, he was incredibly solid, and since those blow-up starts, he's actually been borderline great. And the whole thing with Nelson, a big reason I've been a fan of him for a very long time, is he has an absolute lockdown, explosive fastball. It jumps out of his hand. It lives at the top of the zone. It has been the foundation that he has relied upon his entire major league career. He throws it all the time. That is his big pitch, but can only really do so much on his own. And I like that so far this season, we've seen improvement by all of his secondary pitches. Stuff Plus across the board likes that breaking stuff more this year than has at any other point in his career. And I do like that recently, since those 2 blowups, he's been mixing up his stuff a lot more. Against the righties, he's been throwing more sinkers and sliders. That's really good logic right there. And against the lefties, more cutters and curveballs. Again, really like the logic right there. Kind of an ideal way for him to mix it up, still fold in that nasty fastball, and grow a lot as a pitcher. I think right now, Nelson is just kind of hiding in plain sight as something like a borderline top 50-ish pitcher, 60-ish pitcher moving forward, and you can get him for nothing on most of your waiver wires because of how bad that ERA is. I've always been a huge fan. You cannot teach that fastball. Don't let Ryan Nelson fly under the radar in your leagues. Now, that's the end of the big list this week, but like I told you guys at the top, it's time for all the breakout sections to help you guys in your shallow leagues, your deep leagues, closers, anything you need, starting off with players who are not rostered enough currently in ESPN leagues. Rafael Devers, I know it's been a catastrophe, but there's no reason he should be under a 70% roster rate. We have 7 years of sustained success. It might not ever be as good as it was back in the day with Boston, but there's no chance it's even close to as bad as it has been so far. Then on top of that, Mickey Moniak, 61%. What are we doing? This is one of the best hitters in the league right now. He's got, over 1,000 OPS? He's literally one of the highest scoring players in fantasy baseball this year across the board. That can't be the case. Kyle Bradish coming off 2 straight really good starts, 61%. Move him up. I'd honestly still consider him a top 35-ish starting pitcher, and I'm going to stand by that. Then you got Miguel Vargas, 69%. Sorry, guys, moving fast this week. I'm traveling this weekend, recording this day early. I should have reordered these in the right way like I usually do. My bad. Miguel Vargas, 69%. Just a really, really, really sturdy, solid hitter this year. Under the hood skills improvement, hitting in the top half of what's become a really good White Sox lineup and eligible at multiple positions. Braxton Ashcraft, 64%. Like, what can this guy do to be like a near 90, 80% roster guy? Every single league you should have him. Connor Griffin, 49%. I'm going to bang this drum every single week. It's happening for Connor Griffin. All the skills, all the underlying stuff is really coming together. He also moves up to the 5th spot in the Pirates order on Thursday. Like, it's no league where Connor Griffin should ever be a free agent right now. Nick Lodolo off the injured list has not looked good, but 58% is too low on him. Dalen Lyle, 46%. We saw him get ridiculously hot towards the end of last season. I know he began the year cold this year. Now it looks like he's about to go on a ridiculous hot streak. Scoop him up if you can. Kyle Harrison had another really, really good start for the Brewers on Thursday. He's looking like someone who could be a legit top 30 starting pitcher, and he's only 32% roster in ESPN. That's too low. And Max Meyer, great growth this season with how much harder he's throwing his sweeper and his slider. 38% is just too low. Now on to the closer report, and again, what's been one of the most turbulent seasons for closers I can ever remember in fantasy baseball. There's a bit of a situation brewing with the Reds in the wake of Emilio Pagan's injury between Graham Ashcraft, Pierce Johnson, and Tony Santillan. Especially between Ashcraft and Santillan. Ashcraft's the winner. I think he's going to get the bulk of the save opportunities moving forward. I know he blew his first one, but he pitched a scoreless 9th inning in a tie game on Wednesday, while Santillan wound up losing that game for the Reds in the 10th. Ashcraft's the guy there. Jack Perkins, very solid closer. I think he's very much the guy to trust in Sacramento. I think he's taking over that job and has nasty stuff. Brian Baker has been really reliable this season, but he had just a command implosion on Wednesday with 4 walks, so keep an eye on that. Abner Uribe, it looked like he'd righted the ship over the last 5 or 10 outings. Then he had an ugly blown save against the Padres on Wednesday. Gavin Sheets' big 3-run home run off him, so I don't know if McGill gets a shot soon. Jacob Latz and Paul Sewald had dueling, horrible blown saves against each other in the Diamondbacks-Rangers game on Wednesday. I don't know who I trust in those bullpens. And the Pirates just keep doing weird stuff with Gregory Soto and Dennis Santana. Soto's the closer, then Santana's the closer, then Soto's the closer, Santana's the closer. Right now, Soto's the closer, so I guess if you need saves, you can lean on Soto. Next is the stash list, where I'm going to highlight injured players and minor leaguers who could help you at some point this season. And we're focusing way more on minor leaguers right now, because we have minor leaguers who keep coming up and keep dominating at the major league level. Foolish Baseball just put out a great channel about this being a very special rookie class, even in the lexicon of baseball history. And I think we could even get more guys. Colt Emerson's going to come up soon. Max Clark's going to come up soon. Cade Anderson, drafted last year, is one of the best prospects in baseball already. He has to come up soon, even though the Mariners have a very tight rotation as it is. I also am really becoming a fan of Kalen Culpepper on the Twins. I think he gets a shot soon with their turbulent, to say it nicely, shortstop situation, and the fact that Culpepper has taken a big step forward against velocity so far this year at AAA. Another new one to the stash list this week, Joshua Baez at AAA with the Cardinals. Low-key, one of the best prospects in baseball. Power and speed, lots of both of those when he gets a call at some point. Charlie Condon and Emmanuel Rodriguez, both of those guys probably get the call up for their team at some point this season. Would be excited to see Condon get a shot in Coors Field. And then 2 guys working back from injury, Jared Jones and Troy Melton. Melton's much more of a deep league stash, but I really like his stuff, and the Tigers need so much pitching help right now. Next up, we have the deep league ads, and I'm sorry, guys, but Zebby Matthews is dragging me back in again. Came up for a spot start for the Twins on Thursday because they wanted to give Connor Prielipp a bit more rest, and he looked really good against the Marlins. He didn't give up any runs. He didn't have any walks. Didn't miss tons of bats, but again, really effective in the zone. Simeon Woods-Richardson has to get bounced from that rotation. He's one of the worst pitchers in baseball. Zebby's lined up to just kind of take his spot. I have to give him another start or two before he gets big list treatment, but I apologize, guys. Then Luke Raley, on fire right now. Just can't stop hitting home runs as a strong side platoon guy in Seattle. Ty Madden has looked really, really nice. with the Tigers in a couple starts this year. Not ready to big list him yet, but he's getting close to it. Same with Walbert Urania. It's kind of erratic, but I do love really big velocity and a nice changeup on him. Zach Geloff has been ripping the cover off the ball for the Athletics. He just missed the big list this week. Same with Ezekiel Duran, who's eligible at like every single position on the diamond, hitting well, has good bat speed with the Rangers. JT Ginn also, real nice command so far. Cover's been a huge piece for him. I like what I'm seeing. Braxton Garrett objectively should get a look in deeper leagues, even though he got murked in his first start in 2 years on Thursday. Nolan Arenado is just hitting. I guess he's worth it in deep leagues. Same with Brett Beatty. He's heated up a lot lately. Mark Vientos, also on the Mets, has really heated up lately, seeing a bat speed increase from Vientos. Not a meme, kind of a joke, I guess. Anthony Volpe is back for the Yankees. He's going to steal bags, I guess, probably while he's on the team. Want to give a shout out to Yohendrick Pinago on the Blue Jays. Big bat speed and high contact rates. I don't know how consistent the playing time will remain, but he has really great under the hood stuff. Same goes for Gage Workman. He's a catastrophe in the field for Detroit, but he's playing the strong side platoon. He's been really hitting in the week and a half since they called him up, so I like that. Griffin Jacks coming to the rotation. Has not really missed many bats, but he's been very efficient and effective, just like the rest of that Rays rotation, so he's worth a look in deep leagues. Same goes for Kaylor Montero. He's not great, but he's good deep league fodder, has a consistent spot in the Tigers rotation. Mauricio Dubon's been hitting a lot. Now he's moved up to the top of the Braves order against lefties. Nathaniel Lowe is smacking the ball, but he's also not playing every day, so I'm kind of hesitating to put him on the big list. And Zach Cole recently got the call in the outfield for the Astros. He's a fun player, tons of swing and miss, doesn't draw walks, had a walk-off hit for them on Wednesday. Got to the leadoff spot in the order on Thursday. Just a fun spec ad. Why not, right? Now, giving you guys plenty of players to add, so now I have to give you some to drop. Just a bunch of injuries right off the bat. Robbie Snelling cut me like a knife, but him and Mick Abel, I can't have nice things. Same with Francisco Alvarez. Just can't catch a break, that guy. Injuries nonstop. Mitch Keller's turning it back into Mitch Keller. I'm not really in love with holding him in 12-team leagues. Same goes with Seth Lugo. It's just he's going to keep getting hit. The stuff is not really good anymore. Matt Chapman looks abysmal. I don't like what I'm seeing under the hood with his bat path and his bat speed. Jeremiah Jackson, I've been saying, drop him. He rode that hot first 3 weeks. Now he looks awful again. Griffin Canning, same. He had that really good first start. He's been dreadful since then. Griffin Canning is not a serious fantasy asset. Ramon Laureano may have turned back into Ramon Laureano after just going into this crazy stupor for 12 months. Don't like what I'm seeing out of him. Bryce Eldridge, for some reason, the Giants called him up. I put him on the big list last week because he has awesome power, and I thought he could get a look every single day. Apparently, he's not playing every single day. Tony Vitello is committed to using him as a pinch hitter every single day. So I don't know what the hell's going on in San Francisco. I don't think anybody does. And Zico Tovar has been dreadful for like 2 straight years now. So no reason holding him, even if you're in a daily lineup league in Coors Field, because he just can't hit anything. But thank you guys. Another great waiver wire video in the books. I told you I'd try to get you a regular baseball video this week, but it just got really busy. My sister had a master's degree graduation. That took a few days for me. I'm traveling this weekend to a friend's wedding in Florida. So the week got tight on me, but have some big ideas for the channel coming up. Going to be very different content, but going to maintain this waiver wire video for sure every single weekend. If there's other fantasy content you guys want, drop in the comments. If there's any baseball ideas you guys think would be fun for me to do, drop them in the comments. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time.